Right guys, so how are we doing? So a couple of people have asked me through comments over the last couple of months about salting ragworm. So this is the ragworm, or some of the ragworm that I took to chisel over the last week or so, and we've still got some nice rag left. So what I'm going to do is just going to separate the good rag from the mushy rag. I mean, this is mushy rag. Obviously I don't want that because it's just going to fall apart. But the good rag that's still pretty much going and pretty much alive, we can salt them down. I'm just going to sort them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the ragworm that's good and just put it into a pile over here, like the nice big ones, and the ones that are still full and still pretty much good to go, we will salt down and use again. The little ones are not really, the ones that are still formed and still ragworm, still big bits, we will use. But the ones that are mushy, there's no point using the ones that are mushy because they're just going to go to mush. Just sift them through, looking for the decent ones. Also, I don't think there's many here. I mean, it would be more beneficial if you had a lot of ragworm, to be fair. But this is just a video to show you how to do it. So yeah, so I think we got all of the ones out of here. The rest of them are just all stringy. They look like they're on the turn. So yeah, so there's the ragworm that I picked out then. There's not, like I said, not many at all. What we're going to do is we're going to salt them now, and hopefully we'll be able to use them again. It just saves a bit of money in the long run and gives you a second use to be able to use them again. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our ragworm and just space it out in the tray. Obviously it's going to move around, so we'll just space it out a little bit and then we'll start salting. I mean, a lot of people will actually layer out on paper and completely dry them out. I mean, you can do this, but to be fair, I just want to salt them up and just get them going really. So what we're going to do then is just going to use some just normal table salt. I mean, you can get this from any supermarket or whatever. It's about 30p for a thing. And we're just literally going to salt the worm. Right, so when you completely cover them, they should look something like that, completely covered in salt. What we're going to do is we're going to leave that for a bit, and then we'll come back to it, and then we'll re-salt them a second time. Right, so I just moved the worms from the first tray into the second tray, and I've just completely salted them now. They've got salt completely over them. Spaced it out about 10-15 minutes. Like I said, none of the worms are moving anymore, so they've all gone into the salting process really. Like I said, this is just the way I do it. There's loads of other ways people do it. People, you know, if you had a lot of worms, I'd sit there and I'd dry them all out in sheets of newspaper, and then I'd salt them all. But just for a small amount of worms, this will be absolutely fine. So yeah, so I'm going to leave them in that salt now for about half an hour, and then I'm going to come back to them. I'm just going to pop them in a pot, and they should be ready to go for my next session. We all know that fresh is best, but sometimes if you've got leftover ragworm, especially a lot of ragworm, you know, this is a good way, especially to use as tipping baits and things like that, just to save yourself, like I said, a couple of quid. Right, so the worms have been in there for a good period of time now. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to transfer them to this container so I can use them for my next session. In total there's 13 worms in there, 14 worms. I say it's 14 tipping baits. And there we have it, they're all ready to go. So when I want to come and pick a worm, I just dive into the pot of salt there, pick out a worm, and they'll firm up over time in the salt, and then away we go. We can still use the worms as tipping baits. So that's how I salt ragworm, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you try it yourself. And yeah, let us know how you get on. Cheers.